My name's Danny James, and this is the Ambassador Pool School Show, Salt Edition, version 2. Today we're in beautiful Sharon, Massachusetts, looking at a brand new 1624 award-winning kayak pool. And I'm gonna take you through how to run your brand new Chlorsync by Aqua saltwater generator. It's pretty simple, there's not much that's changed, and it's a brand new install, so we're gonna take a look at how to run this thing. All right, so when you first get your Chlorsync saltwater generator, the first thing you're gonna notice on the screen is it says add salt and check flow. Now it's gonna say check flow because your pump is off, so go ahead and turn the pump on and you'll notice that error message disappears. Second thing is to add salt. We have a very simple math equation to find out how much salt goes in the pool. It's 50 pounds per 2,000 gallons of water. So we have a 1624 flat bottom pool. It's about 10,000 gallons. We need 250 pounds of salt. Now, unfortunately, the bags of salt come in 40-pound bags, so we have a little bit more math to do. But generally speaking, 40-pound bags, you've got 5 40-pound bags is 200, 6 is 240, and then one more would be 280. It's always better to put a little more salt than a little less because the saltwater generator will eventually use the salt and burn it off. So we're gonna show you how we put the salt in the pool, the kind of salt we use. In my opinion, the best salt is the Mortons water softening pellet salt at Home Depot. It's pellets, not granular salt. So it takes a little longer to dissolve, but it's much cheaper, and salt is salt. All right, so you'll notice 24 hours after you put your salt in the pool, the chlorinator will have a chance to register the salt, and the first thing you'll see right on it is it says 060. That means your chlorinator is at 60%. That's what the factory has it set to, and generally speaking, that's where you should be. The only reason you should ever turn up the percentage of chlorination this unit is putting out is if you're noticing some problems with cloudiness or algae. We have a saying in this business, we've been saying it for a long time, if the pool is green, it needs chlorine. And if the pool is clear, forget about it and jump in the pool. It's not a big deal. So you'll notice there's 3 lights on the Chlorsync saltwater generator. The first light is the salt light. Now when your salt light is green, that means your salt levels are normal, your pool's putting out chlorine, and you're good to go. When the salt light is flashing green, that means your salt level is high, not a big deal, really hard to do. And in that case, you could either dilute the water with a garden hose or just let it burn off eventually. It's not gonna bother anything. When your salt light is flashing red, that means your salt level is a little bit on the low side and it could use a little bit of salt. And when your salt light is solid red, that means it's dangerously low salt. It's not dangerous, it's not a big deal, but you should add a bag or 2 to the pool and see what it looks like 24 hours later. Anytime you see a flashing red light or a solid red light in the salt section, add a 40-pound bag of salt, give it 24 hours, and you should be good to go. The second light is the cell light. Now, when your cell light is green, you're golden, nothing's wrong, everything's good. When your cell light is red or flashing red, that means you have to clean the cell, something's obstructing the cell, or maybe you have to descale the cell, which is down the road after you've owned the pool for a few years. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then the third light is the flow light. Now, when your flow light is green, your flow is good, water's running into the pool, and when your flow light is red or blinking red, it'll say check flow right on the screen, and there's something blocking the flow or your pump is off. It's always gonna say check flow when the pump's off. If the pump's on and something's blocking the flow, it's usually in the union screen, which is a last-ditch effort to catch any debris coming off the trees, and we'll talk about how to do that in a second. The only other thing you need to know when it comes to a Chlorsync saltwater generator is your parts per million salt level. Now, generally speaking, you want to be between 2,700 and 5,000 ppm, parts per million, but the ideal range is 3,000 to 3,500. There's a very simple way to figure out exactly where you're at on this unit, and if you come in close here, there's an up arrow and a down arrow. So I'm gonna press the up arrow 5 times and then the down arrow 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First, we're gonna have the model number, then it's gonna say salt, and then the parts per million. 3130, perfect. So we're right in that ideal range of salt parts per million. The great thing about this unit is if it gets low, it'll start flashing in the salt light. It'll flash green for high salt, and if you have high salt, it's not a big deal. It'll flash red for low salt, and add a bag or 2 and give it 24 hours and you're good to go. But if you ever want to know exactly where your parts per million range is, you just press up 5 times and down 5 times and it'll tell you exactly. Now, other than that, it's a very simple system. You let it run, it keeps the pool clean and clear, and you can go a whole year without having to do anything. Generally, a year later, you might have to add a bag of salt. If we ever get heavy rain, or if we ever get a bunch of stuff fall in the pool, or the power goes out, the pool's sitting for a little while, you can supplement the salt with general pool shock. The powdered shock is better than the liquid. Take a couple 1-pound bags, sprinkle them around the outside edge, and it'll bring a foggy or green pool right back to crystal clear. Remember, if it's green, it needs chlorine, and if it's clear, stop worrying about it, don't overthink it, and get in the pool. If you ever have any questions, you can always call me, Danny. I'm always at the office. Press 3 for service, and we'll talk to you soon.